Hello, YouTubers. This is your guy, Ricky, from Corpus Christi, Texas. Today is May 31st, 2020, the last day of the month and a new month to begin. Anyways, today I thought I would talk about emotional IQ, also referred to as emotional intelligence. It's such a key point to talk about, especially when right now in America we have such uncontrolled emotions throughout social media, the news, and everywhere else we get our truth from. And so, emotional intelligence ranks in the same category as intellectual intelligence, the IQ. But it's one of those categories that a lot of people just don't want to deal with, talk about, and even sometimes it can sound a little cliche saying you're way too emotional. However, I would beg to differ that when you take a lot of time to focus in, you're going to be able to put out a lot more as far as with conversations, people skills, and even developing your own personal skills. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand, use, and manage your own emotions. Emotions can be defined by many different things that motivate us. But four key categories I just kind of want to talk about that help us process what emotional intelligence is. And that's self management, that's the ability to be able to manage your emotions in any situation. Self awareness is accepting that you are an emotional being and coming to grips with that and knowing when to know how to process that. Social awareness is being able to pick up on social cues when you know you need to exit a scene because you created a scene, or being able to address the situation and help better the situation because you see the other person's hurt or need or even just reaction toward that. Relationship management. Obviously, again, people are wired differently. People are going to respond differently to how you say something, what you do, or what you didn't do. But in all reality is, if we can't control our own emotions, how can we expect others to understand what we're going through if we can't even make sense of it? Emotions can not only affect your mental health, your physical health, but even your social skills. It's one of those things that it's not like a school or any sort of college education will teach you until you're out in the real world, or you take the time to research it and just learn as you go. But how you handle your emotions, it's so crucial, especially right now when tensions are already high with COVID-19 and all the other things that are going on the news, social media, and everywhere else. So today I just kind of wanted to just briefly touch on this because, again, we are all emotional, whether we accept it or not. You can deny it, you can hide it, you can just avoid talking about it. But at some point, you're going to have to deal with it. You're going to have to face reality for where you're at. And it's okay if you don't have it all together. I don't think anyone ever does. And if they do, then I'd question it. But just like in my other videos, I always try to tie some kind of scripture or acronym into this. And so I broke down the word emotions and just kind of, again, give you some little nuggets to think about. Empathy is the first letter, and that's the ability to recognize one's feelings, reactions, or even kind of, again, self-awareness, and the ability to read that off another person or feel convicted. There's other words I probably could use, but those are the two that come to mind. The letter M, I put motivate. You're motivated by passion, you're motivated by purpose, or even the question why. But all of us are motivated by something or someone. I put the letter O for observant. You have to be observant to what's going around you. You can't live, in closed doors. You can't shut yourself off. And if you do, then it's always a personal choice. But when you're observant of what's going around you, you're either going to respond to it or you're going to run from it. The fourth letter I put T as in teaching. We all have to teach ourselves new things because no one's going to teach us unless we're willing to invest in learning and growing and actively participating. The letter I put investing. You have to invest somewhere. Invest your talents, your time, and your gifts because, if you don't, then you've just wasted it. Or you could have impacted someone else that could have used what you've had to bring or to give. The next letter I put O is obey. Whatever your heart is going to obey, whatever your mind is going to obey, you got to figure that out. You got to see what your truth is and what motivates you again, and follow through with it. Obeying to your own convictions and your own personal goals, it's always a personal choice. The letter N, I put network. It's important to connect with other people, just like any sort of internet browsing, networking, social click, or business, or connections with financial gurus. You need to branch out and grow and challenge yourself by doing life with other people. That's what networking is all about. It's about expanding your own mindset to hear from other people that may bring a different perspective. The last letter I put was S, and that is secure. Be secure of who you are, even if you don't know who you are. And I don't think you ever really can, because there's always something new you can discover, even about yourself, as you're learning new things about yourself. But at least if you have security, or even again, I use the word secure, if you feel secure and confident about at least who you are or trying to discover that, it at least gives you a foothold to move in the right direction. And again, you can go in any direction you want with this message. This message is for anyone, anywhere, any season, any background. My security is in Jesus Christ. I just challenge you in this crisis to think about that, because, whatever you think about, you're going to be motivated about. And now I'm going to tie it back into Scripture. And so today's reading, I'm going to read from Proverbs 16:32, and I'm going to read it out of the NIV and the Message, because both of these verses are very applicable to today. It says right here in Proverbs 16:32, "Better a patient man than a warrior, a man who controls his temper than one who takes the city." In the Message version, it says, "Moderation is better than muscle, self-control better than political power." Better to have self-control. Who can control his temper? Can't say we all have had a moment where we probably lost our temper in a situation. But here in the book of Proverbs, it's comparing to a man who's able to recognize, or a woman, their self-control. That means self-awareness. That means they got their emotional IQ in check, or at least they're checking into it. And so, if you try to take a city without any weapons, you're probably going to not win. You look at history. People that go out into war, they're not going to run foolishly into battle. So why should you? And then the next verse, guys, I'm going to share from is going to be from Galatians 5:22 in the King James Version. It says this: "But the fruit of the Spirit is joy, peace, love, kindness, goodness, and faithfulness." Again, these are all adjectives that describe things that are produced. Not every single person is going to be wired for success. And if they are, it's one of those 1 out of the million chance. Regardless, these are things that you have to cultivate within you. Reap what you sow, planting seed. These are world terms that most religions accept as truth. Karma is the other word, yin and yang. But in the Bible, it's saying, whatever you are sowing into, a man or woman reaps what they sow. A farmer does not expect not to get a crop if they're willing to put the time to the plow, put the seed down, water it, and continually work on it. You have to continually work on yourself, to check your emotions every day, because what you feel today, you may not feel tomorrow. But whatever you're convicted by, it's what's going to drive you. Whatever motivates you is going to compel you in whatever direction you're leading to. And that is why it's important to think about your emotions on a daily basis. Because again, if you can't control how you feel, then you're gonna be out of control. You're gonna do things that later on you're gonna regret. And that's the worst thing, is to live in a lifestyle that just is constantly regret after regret. How about we learn today that emotions are just as important as intellect? Because if you're smart enough to know how to compel yourself to move ahead, even in a crisis situation, you're going to be better for it, and you're going to inspire others because of what you're willing to invest in and what you're willing to put yourself through, even at times when life just throws you a bad card or a bad deal, or even just like this pandemic. I don't think any of us, wanted to go through it, but we all were faced in it. But however you choose to embrace it, just think about your emotions while you're going through it. And that's my nugget for you today, is just to think about What am I doing to handle my emotions in COVID-19? Am I growing or am I distancing? And as you ponder that thought, just remember that someone out there could have it worse than you, but they're seeing the joy in it because their emotions are not controlling them in it. That's my thought for you today, and I look forward to seeing you next month.